sound was digital, I really wanted it to be more physical, so, because watching, somebody playing keyboards, it's kind of like watching somebody iron, not that interesting. I mean, some keyboard players are like, but they're really still doing this. So they're tethered to this thing, and so I like instruments that make you move, make you move around, and are like, so. That's why I designed that harpoon instrument. This is a little earring that shouts into your ear, made for a Parquet magazine. This is one version of a parrot that is, here's the original one that he's about this big and has a whole big language program in him. So he senses that you're approaching, and then he tries to engage you, and then he has this kind of stream of consciousness stuff that he does. His beak moves, he moves his neck. Not very realistic, because parrots really don't have lips, They don't like this. They don't really move their lips. So in this case, he's really articulating every single syllable. So anyway, this is a duet thing. As a sculptor, I like to use, I think there are already so many interesting shapes in the world. I'm not really about making interesting shapes, more interesting shapes to look at. Like, here's another interesting shape. I like to use stuff that already exists and then change its function. So this is a level, and it has little speakers on either side. So it's duet. So she's on one end and he's on the other. And so if you move it this way, only she sings. If you move it this way, only he sings. If you get the little windsurfer to balance, then you hear them together. Some early things of singing into using breath and light with a candle. A lot of stories were hidden in pillows, which again, I like the physicality of not just standing and looking at a work, but being part of it. In this case, just lying on top of it. These are some drawings that I made a couple of years ago of Lola Bell, actually, in the Bardo. And these, I had a kind of secret studio in Brooklyn, because I don't know, some of you artists might be familiar with this this phenomenon of the art police, who come in and kind of go, what do you do? You're supposed to be a sculptor. Why are you doing wire drawing? It's like, you think, wow, I'm going to be an artist because I want to be free. That's why I'm an artist. I want to be free. And yet then you have all these people telling you what you should do. It's just crazy. It's crazy. You think you're free? No. You're just put in a little category. You're supposed to conform to what that is and behave a certain way and do certain things and talk certain ways. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, I just decided to make these really big paintings of my dog as she goes through the Bardo, with the Bardo being the Tibetan, not place so much as process of 49 days after death, as your spirit or energy, let's say, prepares to enter another life form. Your mind dissolves during this time, according to the Tibetans. So I thought, what is that like for a dog? A very energetic creature. How does that energy disperse? What does it become? So these were a number of paintings describing that. In the film that I'm doing also, there's a long section in the middle of the Bardo as well. I got, in some of these exhibitions, they would go, I mean, basically if I had to say that I was anything, I would say that I'm somebody who likes stories, if I had to define myself. So in this exhibition in Rio, I realized that most of the people who were coming to this exhibition were kids, and so I began drawing the stories really big, like cartoons, like comic books on the walls. So they should never have let me do this, because I just did their entire museum this way. It was like, they were like, no, that's okay, you can stop now. And I was like, no, I can't stop. So, and then this one would be just like, I would make tiny little drawings around the corner of a room, and then ones that were enormous, and it was really great fun. This is about little, because some of them biographical, having to do with being on talk shows in that case. This is something of a story about worms. Oh, this is a metal work. In fact, it's just this size. See, we're actually finally looking at something to scale. It's a bent, crunched up piece of metal with a million little holes and then a light source behind it. So it's this. Okay. Hey, that's Dolette right here. That's Dolette McDonald. Dolette, stand up. There you are. Yes. One of the world's great singers, and she was so inspiring to work with. She had amazing moves, and this is from a show called Home of the Brave that we did, and there were a million things that they had to do in that as well as sing, so it was like a really crazy show. There are, I think, other things as well. I just show you quickly other sets, other ways that I'm an artist who has like my studio is a sound studio next to the visual studio, and they interact. So you're around, you're like playing with a bow, and suddenly it drops in front of a film projector, and you realize, oh, if I go like this, I'm making a fake hologram. So there were lots of words that were spelled out with a white bow like that. Again, accidents are really important. This is a big three-dimensional sound system. Before it was called Whirlwind. It was sound that was going like this, because it's so. I also find stereo pretty oppressive. It's just two boxes representing the ocean of sound that we live in, which is, not two boxes. So this was also a line that you walked along, and as you walked, you triggered these different speakers that would be a word forwards and then backwards, like note becomes tone when you walk back along that line of light. This is from a project of about architecture. So sound and architecture are really interesting to me, and so this was just tuning the room with piano wire, and realizing that it was a major triad, the proportions of the room. These are little contact mics, so that you're using the percussive door jamb to make that part of the violin sound. Let's see. Okay, so now maybe I'll have a chance to talk a little bit about the NASA project later, but I'm going to leave us here now because I wanted to read one or two things to you. Since I've announced that I'm a storyteller, I might as well try to read you a story. So I'm going to read you a story. It's a kind of meta story, really. It's called I'm just editing some of this. You see how I have a really warped idea of what amount of time is available. So I was going to read after showing the rest of these things. Oh, okay. This is going to be called once I was doing a show in Spain, and I was I had chewing a lot of Nicoderm gum. I was trying to stop smoking, and so it's basically speed. So I was like, okay, let's go.